Hi, I'm Bob Batcher, Executive Director of Prime Plus Senior Centers, and this is Prime Time with Bob. And I've been doing the senior industry work for about 3 years, and one of the first people I met through a variety of meetings in the industry to really look at making sure that as services to seniors, we're doing it in a collaborative manner, is Brandi Smith. Brandi, how you doing?
I'm doing well, Bob. Thank you for having me.
A day doesn't go by where I don't get an email reminding me of an opportunity to gather together and do something together. You're sharing everything, but what do you really do for a living?
I am the Director of Operations for Comfort Keepers, a non-medical in-home personal and companion care in Virginia Beach and throughout the Mid-Atlantic.
I was going to say it's really been spreading. And the need for home care pre-COVID, we're not even talking about COVID, really was on the increase, wasn't it?
Yes, it has become more, and it's become a larger industry as our senior population has grown.
One thing I've discovered in the 3 years that I've been here is in our adult day service that people are really viewing that as a fantastic alternative to what they think is the only alternative, and that's extended care. Now, it's an important relationship between home care, adult day, and then ultimately leading to that journey of maybe going to assisted living. Can you kind of put it in perspective?
Sure. So oftentimes home care is the starting place, or adult day is the starting place, a place to help primary caregivers cover the work day, or to provide a little bit of assistance that allows primary caregivers like daughters and spouses to be and remain daughters and spouses and not only caregivers. So a lot of times home care starts people on that journey because it is so flexible, where we can do 1 day a week, we can do 1 day a month. We have, all sorts of schedules from, like I just said, to 24-hour care. So it's a very flexible option to dip your toes, if you will.
Now, what's the difference between calling Aunt Tilly and saying, can you come over and help me out for a couple hours, and calling a professional home care center?
It's a good question. And sometimes there isn't a lot of difference. Sometimes it's an outside person that can be somewhat more stimulating than our family members, Sometimes there's a level of comfort with a family member that when you come over, we're totally content to sit in front of the TV for the time that I'm there. And where working with a professional, we can help define some goals. Maybe the goal is to get up out of that chair, to maintain a social engagement that has fallen apart. Like there's oftentimes we take people to church, and maybe that family member doesn't like that church or want to go to church on that Sunday because they're resting on that day or what have you. But sometimes having that outside person come in can engage us more and help motivate us to do things that our family members aren't able to help us to do. Or pride, wanting to not share our intimate moments like bathing or toileting with our family members, and instead having a professional that knows how to really assist you and one, not hurt you or hurt themselves. So safety a lot of times is another reason why we call a professional and not just Aunt Joe.
In fact, it's I gotta tell you, I'm kind of envious a little bit. We have a Zoom meeting with the caregivers from people who participate in our adult day at Prime Plus. Mm-hmm. And they got comparing notes because even though they may spend 5 days a week coming to the adult day center, they also have supplemental support from many of the home care programs, including yours. And man, they were talking about, Alice, I forgot her name now, comes in and she's a great cook and all that. Says, well, can I have her on Wednesdays? But do you have qualification? I mean, do you have certain qualifications you look for in someone getting home care? I mean, would I be denied if I ask for? No.
No, I mean, we have people that call us solely to help clean their homes. And we do have discussions with them, that maybe that's not the most cost-effective use. So
Right.
a maid service is going to be cheaper than a home care service. But what a maid service isn't going to give you is engaged conversation.
Right.
Yes, we might be there under the guise of cleaning your home, but we're also monitoring your medications while we're in there, or we're talking to you and trying to engage you on a different level, or we're involving you in that housekeeping. Like maybe you can help us fold some of the laundry, or we're helping you to prep meals during that time. So we're trying to take it a little step ahead. And there's been times where I've worked with people that, wife had dementia, didn't quite know what was going on, was never going to go for home care. And so we totally sold it to her that this was a housekeeping service. And then next thing you know, 6 months later, she's got a bond with that caregiver that enlightened and elevated her day.
Yeah. As a caregiver, a family member, what kinds of things should I look for besides I'm tired of cooking dinner? What kinds of things should I look for in maybe deciding if that home health care is something I need to?
Sure. Common things are going to be reoccurring UTIs because of poor cleaning hygiene habits. Some are going to be medication errors, so that there's the monitoring of medications. Yes, there's other options to monitor outside of home care too, but those things that lead to hospitalizations, especially reoccurring hospitalizations for things that may have been prevented, is a good sign that home care might be a great option. Social isolation, especially for somebody that was more engaged, is going to be a big sign. Or somebody telling you, oh, I'm fine, but their appearance is not like it used to be. They're disheveled. They're forgetting things that they normally wouldn't, or they don't have groceries in the home, or the home is filthy and it used to be very clean. These are signs that somebody is going through something, let it be medical or psychological, that they may benefit from additional services outside of family members.
Because at both of our centers, the one in Norfolk and Virginia Beach, we've got a couple of caregivers at home, professional caregivers that actually are bringing the loved one, the participant, to. Mm-hmm. They're dressed, they're ready to rock and roll, and right. Then we can give them a completely different experience because they're having it with 8 or 9 other people.
Right.
In fact, you're talking with the caregivers, there's quite a few stories that occur during the day that they don't hear about. So it kind of replicates what real life was like before the journey of Alzheimer's or dementia took over. You mm-hmm. had these multiple gatherings, you had multiple relationships, and mm-hmm. it's not normal just to sit in the living room watching TV, right?
No, it's not. And a lot of times care plans, really, I shouldn't say a lot of times, care plans should include, if possible, a level of social engagement outside of the home. If that individual likes to go down to the ocean front and people watch, well, then let's keep doing that for them, because the longer they have things that are important to them, and not things that we perceive as important to them, but things that are important to them or were important to them, keeping those helps keep them tied and engaged to their communities, their families, and really themselves. And it's an important facet. And so being able to incorporate adult day, like your programs, or even going to the other side, active fitness if they're able to, but just not able to drive because of whatever reason, or, assist them with the fitness when we're not socially distant, perhaps, but encouraging those things. And I mean, Bob, I'm sure you can attest, there are times where external motivations help you achieve the things that you wanted to achieve anyway. So that's really where we come in and act like that. And creating partnerships create an overall plan for the person, and not just to meet basic personal care needs or basic home life needs, but service the person. And that's when you really see your true success stories.
Yep. Well, I've been jumping on as many Zoom meetings as possible to the point my butt gets sore. because of that kind of connection, but it doesn't do it all, which is why we're really working hard now at developing protocols that will assure that we can be on the active side, create a safe environment with cooperation from the members, but also get our adult day service operations back up. But it's going to be different, than it was before.
It is.
Let's talk safety, because as we've heard from the scientists and from the medical field, there's that balancing act of benefit and risk. There's been risk in life forever, even long before COVID came about. But on the other hand, we know that we can minimize risk. What kinds of things is the home health industry doing to make sure that there's safety when you come into the home?
Sure. So, and let's be honest, some of these are best practices that are probably going to stick around and honestly should have probably been in place before COVID and are now being reinforced for sure. But something COVID specific, we do daily health checks with all of our caregivers and our clients, especially clients that have multiple caregivers in the home. And we're not asking them every 4 hours. It's, we come in for our first shift. We make sure that our client is healthy. We make sure that our caregiver is healthy. And we're asking about visitors and other people in the homes also. If there are any of the questions that you're seeing nowadays, if you answer yes to any of these, don't come in the store. Well, we're doing the same thing, but in the home, and we've been doing it since March 13th. So same thing, wearing gloves, wearing masks. We ask clients to wear masks, especially if they're high risk. If somebody's on oxygen.
Relief. I lost track of my mask and I was starting to panic. So thank you.
I know. I started talking about it, it's like, mine's over here. But we're not providing just our caregivers with PPE, but we're supporting our families with PPE too. We're keeping in very close contact with everybody, clients, family members, caregivers. We are really honing in on what we call at Comfort Keepers, TLC calls with our caregivers, where we're touching base every week, not just because of COVID, but to make sure that we have good relationships with people so that they feel encouraged and supported to speak up when they need to. And then having correct protocols in place to act quickly if someone is suspected or confirmed, and following all, of course, the CDC and Virginia Department of Health guidelines the entire step of the way. So it has definitely been tiring to ensure the safety of clients and caregivers, but it's been worth it the whole time, because some of these people at home, they would have never made it a day at a a skilled nursing facility.
Right.
Or it would have killed their spirits more than it would have exposed them to anything else. But this is what they chose, was staying at home. And home, even the government said at the start of this, home is the safest place to be right now, even if you do have people coming in and out. But most home care agencies, a very select few, are taking COVID-19. Most are not, because they can't support the need, right. Especially with the PPE crisis at the start of this. It just was safer for us to protect our other clients and our caregivers by not doing it. That's what the true healthcare professionals like hospitals and skilled nursing homes and home health agencies were for, not home care, which is non-medical care. Right.
Brandi, we're out of time for our conversation, but something tells me that the conversation, and I hope the people that are watching this will continue, because you hit it on the head. The safest place for a senior to be in these times is at home, but that doesn't mean they have to be isolated. And there's
Correct.
A variety of options for them, from adult day to active side, coming in and visit in a safe environment, and then having visits at home through professionals to kind of keep an eye. Brandi, thanks for everything that you do to make sure that people are connected. That's what we want to do. Remember, guys, stay safe, but stay connected. See you next time. Thank you.